Good morning, everyone. It is Throat Punch Thursday, June 23rd. Today we have Fed Powell following up testimony on the Hill. He will be taking center stage at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in front of the House. Yesterday he was in front of the Senate. We saw some moves off of his comments regarding specifically inflation, potential of recession, the size of rate hikes, things like that. We did see some moves, but my guess is that we're probably just going to see the same news today because the questions will be fairly similar. Why they don't go ahead and do a joint session on this, I don't know. It would be a lot easier. But no, we get to play with it for 2 days instead. All right, well, this is what our futures look like. We did see a little bit of a bump yesterday, but the one thing we keep talking about is the lack of volume. Without volume on a rally, it does not give it really good, it doesn't give us really good confidence on follow through. What that's telling us is that a lot of those big pockets, big money, funds, things like that, institutional money is not buying up this rally as we would like to see, so the downtrend continues. Bear market rallies can be very fruitful, but keep in mind that this is a bear market rally as of this point. And on the futures here, you can see that this may very well be setting up a bear flag, right? So several candles down. We did see some exhaustion in these candles, but now the rally is very anemic in volume. So that is something we need to pay really close attention to. We are constantly hearing about gas prices, inflation. I did say in the little note that goes with this that the energy sector is under some pressure. I am in energy. Energy sector is under pressure because Biden came out, did a whole press conference yesterday about doing or imposing a tax holiday on gas. And that equates to about 18 cents a gallon. That sounds great. That would then have to be passed along to the consumer. Although they can take care and do the tax side of it, it is up to the companies to then pass that savings along. It is only due for a couple of months. Here's my beef with it. It sounds great. It's giving us a very short-term reprieve, I suppose, but all it's doing is encouraging demand and or increasing demand. It may give us a little bit of a break right now, but I think the long term is going to be worse because with 20 cents cheaper a gallon, some people might say, oh, okay, yeah, you know what, I can go see grandma this summer or take a little bit longer vacation or drive or whatever. And what that is going to do is actually have a rebound effect and cause higher demand on and lower supply. That is the whole. Inflation is all a supply-demand imbalance. So I think this is the wrong way to go. And then when that tax holiday is over, we will see that more than likely it'll be viewed more as a tax, right? Because now we're still going to be in an inflationary period and we're just placing it back on. This is a Band-Aid. It's just a Band-Aid. So I'm not a fan of it. It's not necessarily a political statement, but it is a statement that I think the administration is completely wrong in how they're handling this. They've got to get supply on there. They've got to add the supply to bring down bring the demand supply back into a balance, and that will then take care of inflation. So, last Friday, if you haven't seen it, I did put out a long video talking about inflation, why we raise rates during inflationary periods, and why I think it may not work this time. All right, so one other thing to kind of think of, and this is, not having to do with trading, but when you think about gas stations, things like that, you rail against, as you drive by, you see those prices at the pump rising, and, they've come down a little bit, but they're still, almost double where they were a couple years ago, and it's painful. Just remember that those gas stations, only 1% of all gas stations in the United States are actually corporate owned. They are owned by individuals and, investment groups, but they are not owned by, if it has Chevron on there, it's more than likely not owned actually by Chevron. It's like a franchise. So just keep that in mind, and you know, be respectful. I know the gas prices kind of make us all a little crazy, but they are here to stay for now. So anyway, here we are in the ES. We don't know if this is going to be a bear flag or not. We are pumping up and hitting this 8 EMA on the ES. We'll flip over here and look at the SPY. And here's where I was talking about this volume. Although we had a little bit more volume yesterday than we did on Tuesday, not enough to really say, maybe we're done. Right, so we're looking at this side of it, right, that, right? When we're going up, we don't want to see this. We want to see that. We want to see increasing volume as we're going up. We only saw increasing volume as we were dropping. So keep that in mind. Place that look over your charts when you decide when you want to get in, how much you want to get in. And remember, your money's made on your exit, not necessarily your entry in buying the bottom, right? A lot of us have that flipped in our minds. Nope, it's all about when to exit. Okay, so this is our SPY yesterday. We actually had a pretty decent candle and closed fairly flat across the board. We were all red to include the VIX, but not very red. You know, it was overall pretty flat. We're coming in this morning a little bit green. Okay, that being said, let's take a look at a few charts on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and do the bearish real quick. I didn't set any of these up very specifically. I would go for at least July 15th and go very close to at the money. Calls or puts, depending on which way the market you're going. These obviously would be put MO and PM. Okay, these are struggling a little bit. We did get a nice long tail on PM, but I would look for more pressure in these, and Altria. So Altria in particular, this one is down more because they're removing all Juul's e-cigarettes, I think is what it is, from store shelves. So that in particular hitting this, but both of them going down on the reduction of nicotine in cigarettes. That's going to work its way through Congress here. So just a lot of pressure in cigarettes. Coals. So Kohl's had you know, all kinds of news up here about an acquisition. We've now taken quite a bit of a hit across the board. Yesterday we found out that there was news, rumor that the acquisition price per share was lowered. So we're still kind of hanging out here. And unless there's any good news, I think we might see some more downside in that. And of course, with rates where they are, it strengthens our dollar. And that is why we're seeing pressure on precious metals. Because the stronger the dollar, the precious metals will tend to fade a bit on that news. So keep that in mind. These are ones I'm just kind of looking at. And the other sector that's kind of is the travel. So I expect this will probably start picking up. This may turn into as well a bear flag. Not really sure, but kind of watching these. I'm on the fence. I would put these more in the, can go either way. Neutral. Not neutral. Yeah, they're just having a hard time. So keep an eye on any of those travel names for right now, even though we all want to get out and travel. So let's take a look at some longer term ones. So to the top side, I still like CHWY. We played it the other day, that move above the 50. We sat very nicely inside, or not quite inside yesterday's candle, but you know, we sat inside that price action, holding on here. That looks good for continuation. NEO, XPEV, all of these have been, the electric vehicle space has been very strong here lately, and we're looking for continuation after some dojis being put in. Can't believe I'm saying ROKU to the long side, incredibly beat up. Nice cross of the 3 and 8. We came up over the 20. We tested the 50. Anything over the 50 here in ROKU looks good for a long. There's been a lot of talk about partnerships with whether it be Google or, you know, all kinds of stuff for ads, and anyway, they've just had a lot of news. So keep a look on ROKU, and if you're going to do that, you might as well go ahead and watch Netflix as well. They too have been talking about ad partnerships with other people, and they have just been quietly consolidating here. I think a good solid move and close over the 20 might give us a good bump. So maybe a few days away on that, but we'll see. Healthcare continuing to show some strength here. It closed the gap yesterday. names in there to watch: PFE, Merck, Lilly, Moderna, although a little bit more quiet, but Moderna, NVAX. All of these look great. I love NVAX over that 20. A lot of pressure overhead with the 34 and the 50 and the point of control there. But overall, looking very good here in healthcare. And then we have Roblox. I don't know how this made it onto my list, but it sure did. Here on that 3-8-20 cross, hanging here, touch the 50, looking for a move above that 50. All sorts of room if we can get a move above the 50 on the daily. Okay, that is it for me here today. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, reach out, Heather C. at GivingTreeTrading.com.